It's week 9 of my Summer with Lisa Kleypas challenge, and this week we are midway through the Hathaways series with the book Tempt Me at Twilight. This one is so much fun and I can't wait! Hi, my name's Bea and welcome to my channel, Mama Needs to Read Romance, because nobody in this book is going to throw away our nice spoons. Not the banana peels, but you're going to throw away our spoons. I cannot believe we're already at week 9. How did that happen? And that we're midway through the Hathaways series. I love this book so much and I cannot wait to reread it. I love Poppy. I love being at the Rutledge, this big hotel in the middle of London. It's the talk of the town. Also, what's really cool about this book is there's a lot of mystery surrounding Harry and even Catherine Marks, the governess who they've hired in the last book. And watching things unfold with Catherine and Leo is really fun, as well as, of course, Poppy and Harry. It's just such a fun book, and I love the role that Dodger plays as well, and that's why he's on the shirt that of course I'm not wearing now. I'm gonna wear it. But I'm just so excited to read this throughout the week, and as I go on, I'm going to be updating you with what's going on in the book, and I'll also tell you the love theme that I think would be perfect for Harry and Poppy. There will be spoilers from about now on, so just to tell you, let's go! Woo! I just went back to school shopping and I am happy to not do that again for a year. I apologize. If you watch my upcoming video on trying a chapter of Western romances, you're likely to also see this footage. But this is what I'm doing today. So that's why this is popping up in 2 different videos. So I apologize. So now, Tempt Me at Twilight. I'm at chapter 6. Already. This book is going by so fast. Lisa Kleypas starts out with hilarity. We've got Poppy chasing Dodger down the hallways of the Rutledge. The family is staying at the Rutledge Hotel, many of them, not all. Apparently, Dodger has a love letter from Michael Baining to Poppy. And Poppy's terrified that if this letter gets out, it could be the end of her relationship with Michael, which is already tenuous because Michael is a peer and he wants to please his father, and Poppy is basically no one. And so she cannot risk any kind of problem or scandal or anything, or there's no chance she and Michael can be together. So she's chasing him all over the place. She ends up in someone's office. She's not even supposed to be out of her suite, and she's chasing this ferret around with her love letter. And then she's trying to find him under a desk, and it opens a secret passage. She winds up inside like a secret passage. She's following him, and then she encounters this stranger who grabs her and says he could break her neck. And then he starts very soon after that rubbing the potentially frayed nerves of her neck, and he takes her to this little curiosity room, like in the depths of the Rutledge that nobody knows about and nobody ever goes to. And he is insanely handsome. He's tall, he's dark, he's handsome, he's American, and he's got green eyes. Oh my gosh, sign me up right now. But he and Poppy really seem to hit it off to the point where he asks if they can have tea together, and Poppy's like, we can't do that. And it isn't until a maid takes Poppy back to her suite and she goes, yes, Mr. Rutledge, and we find out, oh my gosh, Poppy's been talking to the mysterious Mr. Rutledge. Nobody knows who this guy is. They all assumed he was some old guy. But in reality, he's young. He's probably in his early 30s. He is an inventor. He works with ambassadors. He's very worldly. He's got this incredible hotel. He's extremely successful. He's always doing 10 things at once. And he overworks Jake Valentine, his second in command. God bless him. Jake tries to keep Harry happy, which is a task unto itself. And here is the beginning of when I have a problem with Harry. I'm not really sure. It's so funny. The first time I read this book, I was very much like, is Harry good? Is Harry bad? How do we feel about Harry? And I would like try to engage my husband or like my mom or friends. I'd be like, okay, let me tell you about this book and let me give you a bunch of background because I want to talk about this like it's actually happening, and it's not. But I really need to hash this out because I'm not sure how to feel about Harry. And so far, even in the first 6 chapters, we find out he's kind of ruthless because he does what he needs to do to get things done, and he's secretive, and he's used to getting what he wants when he wants it, before he wants it, actually, it says. And then he takes Poppy's letter. He lets Poppy believe that the letter is missing. He has that letter from Michael Baining, and he reads Poppy's private love letter and then keeps it on his desk. And don't love that. I don't love that. So, already I'm like, I like him, but maybe I don't like him. Meanwhile, Poppy is talking with Catherine Marks, who, bless her heart, she is doing better physically. Like, she was really frail and thin when she started working for them 2 years ago, and now she's starting to fill out more. She's becoming a little more calm. But she and Leo still fight like cats and dogs, and she wakes up often with nightmares. So she's going through some things that they don't really understand. And also we see Cam and Amelia and their baby. I believe he's 6 months old at this point. His tribal name is Rye, which is what they call him. And I just love that. They're doing really well. And apparently Wynn is off with Kev. He's working on the Ramsey estate. As I'm stopping in the middle of chapter 6, Beatrix is about to help Harry with a monkey problem in the hotel. Yes, there is a monkey in the hotel, and Beatrix is just the person for the job. So we shall see what happens as we continue. Dental appointments, pool trips with friends. That's what we're all about right now. So in between trying to get some of the book read, and I'm so thankful I have it because it's crazy around here. As you may remember, we were in the middle of chapter 6, and Beatrix does some fancy footwork and thinking to save the macaque monkey from the food lift in the Rutledge. We see some interesting interaction going on between Catherine Marks and Harry Rutledge. There's this kind of animosity and a familiarity where you go, I wonder what that's about, because they shouldn't know each other. Later on, Catherine actually goes to his office and sits down with him and warns him to stay away from Poppy. And he's like, people don't do that. But Catherine is not mincing words. She wants him nowhere near Poppy. And Harry refers to her as Cat. So obviously they know one another pretty well. But the question is, why? When Kat told Harry that Poppy's heart belonged to Michael, Harry said, oh, well, Michael can have her heart. I just want the rest of her. So it's like he just wants to possess her. This guy's the worst. Or at a flower show later that day, Michael's going to be there, but beforehand he shows up, Michael Baining does, and he has terrible news for Poppy. He has to share that his father is aware of their relationship, and the father has said that if Michael goes through with his relationship with Poppy, he's cut off. So he has to cut ties with her, and he's absolutely distraught about it. So then Amelia thinks fast and says, well, you know what? You just go to Gretna Green. We can't deny you your title, and we have plenty of money. You're welcome to have ours until you get what is coming to you. To which Michael just says, you know what? I can't go against my family. I can't cut ties. I'll lose all of my entailments. And Amelia realizes very quickly that this guy is just not willing to do whatever it takes to be with Poppy. And Amelia is very angry with Michael that he's not going to go against his dad. So for Michael, I guess he just doesn't love her enough, or he's just not willing to stick out his neck, and Amelia is furious with him. Not long after that, Leo shows up, and they had already decided to cancel all their engagements and head back to Hampshire. And Leo says, you cannot do that. And Catherine actually agrees with him, which is like a first. And they say, you know what, you everybody's talking. It's not looking good. If you want to save face, you need to go to the ball tonight. So she decides to go to the ball, and who is there but Michael? And Poppy is so upset. But guess who else is there? Harry. And he asks if he can be introduced to her, and then they start dancing, and she's so thrilled to see him. And you can see their chemistry as they're dancing. And he takes her out onto the balcony and basically says, look, I want to court you. I find you fascinating. I love the way that your name makes me feel. I mean, he's saying all the right things, but she's like, you know, this isn't right timing for me. I just couldn't do it. To which he starts kissing her. And she says, well, what do women usually do when you're putting the moves on them? And he goes, well, they usually encourage me to proceed. And she says, well, I'm not going to do that. He then kisses her again, but guess what? now they have an audience, and in the audience is Michael Baining. And that is where chapter 9 leaves off. And you know what I think? I think he knew that they were gonna come on the terrace, and he wanted to get caught so that Poppy would have to be with him. This guy. That's my midnight jasmine candle. It's my very favorite candle. It has been discontinued and I am so sad. Anyway, back to Tempt Me at Twilight. We are in the middle of chapter 10. Harry's just been caught kissing Poppy on the terrace in front of an audience, including Michael Baining. And as chapter 10 starts, we see it from Leo's perspective, and he catches Harry giving Michael the briefest look of "I won." And Leo's like, oh no, we are in huge trouble. Then Cam and Leo sit down with Harry and they say, look, I mean, Harry's certain that they're going to say, okay, you have to marry Poppy, which of course has been Harry's plan all along. Leo and Cam say, oh, no, we don't really care about propriety. We weren't part of the peerage for, most of our lives. We don't care. She doesn't have to marry you. We're not going to make her marry you. And Harry's like, well, maybe I can convince her. And then Harry tries to talk to her as well to convince her. But through Harry's internal monologue and Harry trying to convince Cam and Leo, Cam, who knows a lot about Harry thanks to Cam's connections within the Ton, and then Harry talking to Poppy, we discover a couple things. Harry keeps talking about how he has to have her, he wants her, he sort of still thinks of her as a possession. We learn also that his family life was really screwed up. His mom left him when he was very young, so I'm sure he's carrying baggage around about that. His dad wanted no reminders of the father's wife, so he kind of relegated Harry to a corner of the house, and he had tutors and basically no one to love him. And so he feels like he doesn't have a home, he's never had a family, he doesn't even want anyone to love him, he just wants Poppy because he's fascinated by her. And he said, look, if Michael wanted you, he could have made this happen. And he's honest with Poppy. He said, look, I could have let this play out and let you discover, not, because here's the other thing. Harry took the letter from Michael to Poppy and delivered it straight to Michael's dad and let Michael's dad know. And his dad, of course, was freaking out. He has no interest in Poppy becoming part of their family. He does not consider Poppy to be good enough for them. And Harry knew this was going to happen. And so he just figured he'd push things along so that he could go ahead and make his way into Poppy's heart. Or I guess he just says he wants to own the rest of her, right? So, he just doesn't believe that Michael would have fought for her, which turns out to be true. Poppy decides to go ahead because she's ruined, that she can't do anything else other than be a spinster out in the country. So she decides to go ahead and marry him, and Michael shows up to the wedding. He's there right beforehand and they have it out, and Michael's just distraught. He's just totally disheveled. He's a mess, and he's talking about how Harry ruined everything. And so it's all come to light that Harry's the one that destroyed their chances. But again, Michael wasn't willing to carry Poppy out of that church. And Harry said, if he were the better man, if he wanted you, if the two of you loved each other enough, you could have made it happen, and you didn't. So I was justified in what I did. Which is he? I mean, I want to know in the comments, what do you guys think? This is where I was so like, can I talk to someone about this? Because I don't know how to feel. I don't know if Harry's just right. I mean, it feels wrong, but obviously Harry just wants Poppy at any means possible, and he's used to getting what he wants. So anyway, Poppy said, she decides to marry him, but she said, and we can consummate it. And Harry says, of course we're going to consummate it because I don't leave loopholes. And she says, fine. And she won't let him kiss her. It reminds me of Pretty Woman. She said like a kiss was too intimate and too much about love, but she says it's fine if he wants to just consummate it. So she's like, just get it over with. But when he sees her disrobe, he loses his composure, and he gives her quite a bit of passion. And it's funny too, because first of all, okay, I was pretty stressed out when I read this the first time, because I was like, is he really gonna do this? He's gonna take her virginity like this? This is terrible. She's obviously not in love with you. She's really unhappy, and you just want to consummate things to close up loopholes. This is the worst. She also said, to get under his skin before they even started, that she married him for Michael. I guess to give Michael closure or something. I don't really get it, but that really irritated Harry. And then she said she feels like she should be doing, love-making type things with Michael. And Harry says, well, I'm going to make you forget about Michael. And he definitely succeeds in that. And Poppy says the worst part was after he gave her some pleasure, he was holding her close and she let him. And she felt guilty for that. But then that's it. He stopped and he said, "I'd rather wait until you're ready." And he walked out, and I thought, well played. Well played. You didn't go all the way. You didn't force yourself on her. And yeah, so I thought that was very interesting. I did not expect that. That was an interesting twist. So they have not consummated their marriage yet. The following morning, she's really hitting it off with all of the people that work for Harry. It's lovely to see her going about the Rutledge, just learning all about the ins and outs and meeting the people, and it's just so cute. And you get a sense that Harry's life is about to just be turned upside down thanks to Poppy. Okay, we're chapters 14 through 17 of the book right now, and the plot thickens, not just in the book, but also in my life. This just happened. Yeah, my husband has COVID, so life's gonna get more interesting now. We're gonna see what happens. We're just gonna be positive and see what happens. But back to the book, much more fun. Poppy is hanging out with Jake Valentine and Miss Pennywhistle and Chef Rupert. And they're so adorable, the three of them hanging out with Poppy. They just adore her. And Harry doesn't want Poppy hanging out with the help because he feels that it makes them unproductive. But Mrs. Pennywhistle and Chef Rupert and Jake Valentine all love her so much, and they love them. And the conversation is that, there's nothing romantic going on right now between Poppy and Harry. And the three of them conspire to potentially do something to help that out. It reminds me so much of Beauty and the Beast. It's just so funny. Anyway, they're going to a dinner, and Harry gets Poppy a gorgeous necklace, and he helps her put it on, and it gets a little bit, there's some chemistry flowing between the two of them, and he tries to kiss her and she won't. And he's like, "But I just bought you a necklace." And she's like, "Well, this is not like a transaction. I'm not gonna kiss you for a piece of jewelry." It just all backfired in his face, and he just keeps thinking about how he's gonna keep wearing her down, and hopefully he's gonna win her over, but still, it's like he's playing a game. It's like he's just trying to win, and he's trying to figure it out. Poppy notices that he is just being worked to the bone. He's exhausted all the time. Everybody wants a piece of him. So one day when he comes in and he's just totally exhausted, he hasn't eaten since breakfast, she reads to him while he eats some lunch, and he falls to sleep, and she sees just how sweet he can be, and he gets some soot on his face and she wipes it off, and there's just like a little bit of a wearing down of the walls between the two of them. Like, she sees him not necessarily as so much of a calculating person at the moment, and he's of course enthralled with her, but they still have quite a bit to overcome. Something else happens. Poppy slips coming out of the bathtub and hurts herself, and Harry way overreacts. He's like asking people to go get things and run around and scurry, and the maids are like, they refer to them as squirrels, just running around, just getting things. And so he's trying to rub her back, and she feels some love for him, and he feels it back for her. I'm happy at least that they're now getting to appreciate one another, I think, right? I mean, do we like Harry? Do we want this to happen? I'm just conflicted. But I thought this was really pretty. I'm in my son's room right now, and my husband, he has COVID, and I tested negative, but it took him 2 days of feeling badly before he tested positive, so I'm assuming that I have it. I'm sleeping in my son's room, and my 8-year-old is bunking with my 5-year-old. If you thought I looked rough at the beach last week in my vlog, now enjoy. Be sick. One might think maybe that I would just give up and not do this, but I have committed to this challenge, and quite frankly, this is one of the few things I'm enjoying right now, so I apologize if this is unsightly, but it is fun for me to do this, and it's one of the bit of fun that I'm getting. My husband and I are passing off. We're basically taking turns with the kids, and when one of us gets so tired we can't take it anymore, then the other one takes over, and we're just sort of lying around as we can. So we're just doing the best we can. So on to the book, much more fun. We started on chapter 17 and Poppy is nervous. She's eavesdropping because Harry has invited 2 gentlemen over to his private rooms and they are discussing firearms. Harry is apparently quite an inventor. He's thinking he's going to be able to invent an automatic rifle. And one of the heads of the British government, as well as a firearms manufacturer, are meeting with him, and they're angry with him because he's talking about creating this automatic weapon in his spare time. And they're like, you need to get on this right now because this could help us with the Empire. And they're mad at him. But Poppy's overhearing all of this and she is very upset because she's very against guns. And she overhears Harry saying that, he really doesn't have sides. He's an American technically. So he doesn't really care about the British per se, but he's just on his own side. He doesn't really, for him is just inventing it and maybe money, but not anything other than that. And Poppy is very unhappy with that. So he was about to tell her that he would give her whatever she wanted, really, and that he would end things with these 2 gentlemen right away. But before he could get the words out, and he was surprised too, by the way, that he's like, I've never been wanting to give somebody else their own way over and above mine. So that was a new experience for him. But all that was halted when she basically says, if you don't end this, I'm going to leave you. And that stirred up some anger inside of him, and he came closer to her, and I think that the argument led to some passion that was really pent up, and they start having quite a tryst, and she is in a lot of pain, and it scares him so much that he leaves immediately. And she's upset because she's like, did I do something wrong? And it wasn't completed. But he was so upset that he hurt her that he left and got drunk. And when he came back, he discovered that she had left. And I mean left, not just their room, and not just the hotel, but she had gone to see Leo, who was in the middle of something with another lady. He is so funny. I just adore him. All of his lines. Oh my gosh, he's just a hoot. But he agrees to take her to Hampshire. And she's hoping that Harry will follow him. And Leo's counting on the fact that Harry absolutely will follow him. Leo says, look, you need to decide something right now, or at least before you see Harry. You need to decide how this is going to end. If you're going to forgive him for keeping you away from Michael Baining or not. Because if you're not, this needs to end. But if you are going to forgive him, then you guys can move on. And so she really takes that to heart and she thinks about it. And then, so she's arriving in Hampshire at the same time, Harry. So he's waking up, realizing she's gone. Jake Valentine's already hitching up a coach for Harry so he can follow her. Jake knew that Harry would. And he's very angry because she left him. So this is, of course, bringing up his issues with abandonment. And he says that, he needs to apologize to her, but he can't feel sorry for the fact that he wanted her more than Michael and he needed her more than Michael. And he's not going to say he loved her more than Michael, but she completes him, to use a really overused phrase that they don't use in the book. It says it much better in the book. But I mean, I'm sick. Give me a break, right? You complete me. Anyway, so while Harry is on the way, Catherine is having her own issues. She's accidentally messed up her hair dye and it turned green, and then they stripped it of all color and now it's this gorgeous, gorgeous blonde. And Leo was in the back yard trying to mess with her about that, and he rips the towel off of her head, and they're very close together and they've been arguing, so they're breathing heavily, and they stop in this moment of like awe for one another. And they can't really break out of it. And then she just bolts because he says, what are you hiding from? The fact that she's dyeing her gorgeous blonde hair a mousy brown. Whoever would want brown hair? Oh, the humanity. But yeah, I mean, so that was very interesting. But then Catherine comes into the room with Amelia and Poppy and proceeds to explain that, and this is huge revelations. We kind of already knew that Harry's mom was gone a lot, but his mother, Colette, I believe her name was, she probably had, Harry's father probably wasn't even the man that he believed that he was. This woman got around and she married Harry's father, but proceeded to have affair after affair until she finally left to go to England with a gentleman when Harry was 4. And Harry's father locked him away, and one time they forgot about him for 2 days, but he didn't want any remembrances of Harry. But obviously this is the type of childhood that he had, and imagine how scarred he is. And Catherine didn't tell Poppy this on purpose because she knew how compassionate Poppy was, and she was afraid that Harry's incapable of love because of how scarred he is. But Poppy believes that it's just the opposite, that he's more than capable. He just doesn't know how to receive or give, but that he is ready, willing, and eager to learn, even if he's not quite realized it yet. So when Harry shows up, he and Cam have a big fight in the backyard, which is pretty, I mean, it was a good fight. It was like, these are two men in their prime fighting, and I enjoyed reading that. It was like, wow, oh, they're so good at fighting. Wow, they're so strong and cute and everything. But anyway, so then Kev decides he's going to try to kill Harry after this. And Leo's like, Wynn, stop him, say something. And Wynn goes, I'm pregnant. And Leo's like, good one. And Wynn's like, no, I actually am pregnant. Kev is really excited / nervous about it. He's like, how did this happen? And Leo says, did you forget about our special talk the night before your wedding, Kev? Which was just hilarious. I mean, everything Leo says, I just love him. I know I've said that 5 million times. I can't wait for his book next. Everybody kind of goes into the house, and Harry goes to is it the guest house? Something like that. She's in a separate place on the property, and he comes to her, and initially he's furious with her, and he's like, you better never leave me again, and all these things that he says that made me be like, do we like him? Do we really like him? Because he's talking about how he's going to teach her. He's going to teach her, and she just feels like he's just this scared little boy. And so she comes up to him and starts kissing him, and she totally shocks and then disarms him, and he apologizes to her for hurting her. It's still really bothering him that he hurt her when they were intimate last, and they proceed to have a beautifully written love scene. And Poppy is just so thrilled that she gets to be intimate with him, because she feels like when his guard is down, that's the man that she married, and she's really thrilled now for that. So that is the end of chapter 21, and now we'll be heading into chapter 22. You'll see me again, and I'm so sorry, I don't know what I will look like or what my health status will be, but we shall find out. What a fun vlog this is, right? Well, guess what I have? Yeah, it's COVID. And I probably shouldn't even be doing this video, but I didn't know if it was an appropriate thing for a vlog where you're doing like real life. But this does remind me of one time when I was trying to read to my class and I had hiccups. And I was like, why did I even bother to do that? Because they were so distracted by the hiccups that they didn't hear a thing I said. And so now I'm kind of wondering if this is sort of similar. And it's probably not fun, but I'm just trying to be on time and publishing at the right time and sharing openly. And yeah, so my hope is that all of you are feeling better than I am currently feeling, and I'm actually waiting outside of an urgent care so that I can potentially be seen. So I don't know if this is a good idea or not, so I apologize if this is offending someone or making someone anxious or anything, so I do apologize. But I thought, well, I'm here, I'm waiting, as I have been for like an hour and a half. And so I thought, well, maybe I just record this right now. So I finished the book this morning. I got to listen to it while I was lying in bed. It was so lovely to be able to listen to the end of something and just enjoy without even having to open my eyes. Isn't it what books are all about, like being able to escape when you really want to? So I'm very thankful, and my husband's feeling better, so he's hanging out with the kiddos more, and hopefully they will stay well. We shall see. I'll start with this. I definitely know which song I want for Harry and Poppy, and it would be Harry's theme more so, because it would be The Reason is the name of the song by Hoobastank, because she is the reason that he mends his ways. They have a lovely honeymoon. They actually end up staying for 11 days at Hampshire. They have many steamy, intimate scenes, as one would expect at a honeymoon section of a book. And it is just beautiful. You can see all of his defenses going down, and he's getting to see Poppy's family and seeing what it's like to be in a family. They get a letter at one point, and he discovers that Michael Baining had been to the hotel with a gun, and he was drunk and shot into the ceiling. And Harry thought that Poppy was upset because she was worried for Michael, but in fact Poppy was upset because she was worried for Harry's welfare. But you can see, like, Harry's very possessive. Like, he's sort of working through things in terms of attachment and love and all of that. So it's just going to be something that's going to be an ongoing process for them. But I'm so thankful that she was able to share with him that she really does care about Harry's welfare and not Michael Baining anymore. And of course, Harry was so thrilled that he wound up showing her some affection. So, but it really was a lovely section of the book. And then they wind up back in London. They're at the Rutledge, and they proceed to just, I mean, everybody's so excited about the new Harry. I mean, the circles under his eyes are gone. Although, you know, he is starting to get tired again because everybody wants a piece of him. And he lets Poppy know that at one point he went to the War Office, I believe, and met with the manufacturer of the weapons as well as the government head. And they were furious with him because he told them that he would no longer manufacture weapons for them. So they were very, very upset. And then, not long after that, Harry disappears. And they all assume it's Michael Baining. So they go to see him, and he's just a mess. And he asks if something has happened to Harry, if Poppy can be back with him. And she's like, you know, you're just not for me. You're too pedestrian for me, or something to that effect, which I thought was very interesting. But she obviously is totally over Michael and his lukewarm feelings for her. Or at least he loved his family more, or wanted to please his father more. So there you have it. But she ended up with a man who truly loves her and is learning to love. But of course he's missing. So they do some fancy footwork. They go down to Bow Street and they try to figure out where he is. And thankfully, with Leo's background in architecture, they decide to go search the house of the gentleman who was so angry with Harry for not being willing to manufacture the weapons. And Leo discovers there's a secret room in this man's house. Poppy just knew in her heart that Harry was in that house. She just felt it. And Leo discovered where the room was based on his background in architecture. And they have this lovely reunion, and everything is put to rights. I suppose that bad gentleman ended up in prison. But Harry's great, Poppy's great. They have a beautiful ending together. And you just know they're going to be so, so happy. And she tells him that she's pregnant, which is just so lovely and so very exciting. And he's just so excited to start his own family now. I mean, he's really going to get a sense of what family is. He's just so pleased. And he's really changed. I mean, you can really see that he has changed for the better in terms of his love for family, his love for Poppy, his willingness not to work all the time. He's just relaxing and just fully inhabiting his life more, which is lovely. And then the only other thing is in the epilogue, Leo confronts Catherine at the house and says, we need to talk about what happened. So, we are headed to the book 4 of the Hathaways series. And I'll admit it right now, it's my favorite, very, very, very favorite book. And it's called Married by Morning. And I cannot wait to start it tomorrow, although I really don't know what's going to happen with the vlog. I mean, this isn't appropriate for a vlog. I know that most people, like you fabulous people that have made it to the end of this vlog, and look what you've been rewarded with, me looking like this. I'm so sorry. But most people who see this vlog probably won't even get to the end and won't even be aware that I was sick. But if I start a vlog looking like this, I don't know what kind of reception it will get. So yeah, I'm curious. I'm still learning. So I apologize again if this was in any way disturbing or offensive, that I'm part of the reason I'm wearing a mask right now. I'm have to when I go in there, but I look lovely and I thought I'll just cover this with a mask. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're doing better than I am, and I hope you never get this. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is that you're reading, and until next time, which I'm not sure when that will be, take care. Thanks so much, and bye.